Hey guys, welcome to the Do Different podcast. This is Todd Baker with Project Nine Life. Got another fantastic episode lined up for you guys today. I got the pleasure of meeting with Melonie Pederson. She's on the show right now. Melonie, welcome in and take a
Thank
couple of
you.
minutes and just introduce yourself and let our folks know.
Hi, I'm Melonie Pederson. I'm an entrepreneur, a wife, a mom, and here just to share my story with all of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So go ahead and start sharing so we can get to know you a little bit, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I am here to kind of share a personal journey that I just went through. And in going through it, it really made me realize that as a society, we have kind of strict rules when it comes to habits. If you are doing something that is deemed a bad habit, we're taught to break it. We're not taught to bend it. And so I just personally went through a journey, which I feel like a lot of people are, with alcohol. I think COVID really, you know, enabled us to really, consume a lot more of that because we weren't doing much of anything else. Um, and my journey involved knowing that I had a problem, but also knowing that I didn't want it to be completely removed from my life, which as I delved in, I realized that's very different because the historic ways of dealing with alcohol especially, but any habit really is abstinence. We look at AA, and a lot of people think that that's the only method. And I didn't want to break up with alcohol. I just wanted to change my relationship with it. So I talk about how rather than trying to completely cut something off, is getting rid of that all or nothing approach and going to more of a lifestyle change. And what I have deemed my way is conscious consumption. I was habitually pouring out of, boredom, time, had all the time in the world and just doing it because I could. And I didn't have a rock bottom moment. I didn't get a DUI. I didn't run over the dog. I didn't have anything like that. But I had to realize, okay, this is where I am. This is pure abstinence. What's in the middle? And to me, in is conscious consumption. And I think that my message is that's true for any habit, whether it's sugar or shopping or, anything that you deem you need to change your relationship with doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be abstinence.
Right. That's a great way of looking at it is that, and it doesn't matter, like you said, like what that habit is, be it drinking or smoking or overeating or fitness or whatever. But when you make that decision, that conscious decision to change your lifestyle, that's a great way of looking at it in that let's take weight loss or something like that. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden your diet has to change, 90 degrees or 180 degrees and you got to become a gym rat. It could be like, you know what, just be conscious of what you're eating and go for a walk every day. That's going to help. And you
Right.
might find some of the greatest joys and the greatest journeys just in that being active and walking, and you'll find that over time it changes and it just becomes like you become known as the walker or whatever ultimately that is. And you're right. I think a lot of society is, if it's bad, you need to break it. But not everyone's at that stage. Now, is there a place for it? Yeah, but at the same time, it's not for everybody. So, um, kind of what point did you get to, or are you getting to, that is that conscious consumption part?
Well, and I'll be honest, this wasn't like I woke up one day and went, oh yeah, I got a problem, I'm going to fix it.
Right.
Um, I tried things in the past to fix this situation, and they didn't work. And I did finally find something that helped me. I found a program that was an online kind of coaching program that really helped. But, with anything, let's take uh, sugar. Someone that loves cookies and they eat a row of Thin Mints every day. That's their thing. And they realize that this isn't going to work. The chance of them saying on Sunday night, I'm quitting sugar to lose weight, waking up Monday morning and being able to completely give up those Thin Mints for the rest of their life, the chance of that is extremely slim. Chances are they're going to get a couple days, they're going to fiend for those Thin Mints and think about them all the time, and they're not going to have any, and then they're going to crack, and then they're going to have two, and then they're going to say, well, I've already had two, I've totally screwed up, thought I could do this, I can't, I'm going to be fat forever, I may as well eat this entire box and all the boxes that I have. So now they probably physically feel like crap because they ate a box of cookies. They emotionally feel like crap because they feel like they failed and they can't do it. Not to mention, you've probably told a few people that you're not eating sugar anymore. So then it was like, oh yeah, you didn't make it. Told you could make it.
Mhm.
You didn't do it. I thought you weren't eating sugar anymore. I saw you ate Thin Mints. So now you also feel horrible about that. So that's a that's where I go to that. If you're like, okay, I'm eating a sleeve a day. What if I could do 3 cookies a day? And, really tapering it. And maybe you get to a point where 2 cookies a day is your limit and you're good with 2 cookies a day. Great. But by setting yourself in an all or nothing, it's so detrimental in so many ways. But I do have to say this, cookies are different than alcohol. There is absolutely a population that abstinence is 100% what they need. I am not here saying that's not a thing. I am not saying that Alcohol Anonymous is bad. Not what I'm saying. I'm saying the population that is me was able to have this conscious consumption. It is not for everyone, but that is what worked for me. And I think can work for others as well. But um, the all or nothing approach doesn't work for a lot of people.
Right, and it's because you hit the nail on the head. It's the physical feeling of, oh God, I drank too much, to the social feeling of, God, I failed myself and I failed this program, so I can't do it. You've told people, so there's the social aspect of them looking at you like, I thought you were stopping drinking. Why are we out with you with a glass of wine? And so all these things are in there. But if you're like, nah, I'm just gonna be more conscious of what I'm consuming. Now all of a sudden people are looking saying, yeah, we were out with Mel at dinner and she had a glass of wine.
Yeah,
Okay, that fits with your
yeah,
conscious consumption. So you
it's
haven't
about
you haven't failed
it's
anything.
making a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to make a plan and I have to stick to it. And I will tell you that in the absence of a plan, it goes to HE double hockey sticks in a handbasket. Case in point, I uh, had my daughter's birthday. We were throwing her a surprise 21st birthday. It was hectic. So we were running around. I didn't make a plan. I didn't think about it. People were coming. It was her 21st. So there were jello shots. It was a super fun party. And I was running that party. And, it was like, hey, Mel, let's do a jello shot with the birthday girl. And it went crazy. And I woke up the next morning. I mean, again, nothing bad happened, but it was just, I didn't stick to my, usual plan because I didn't make one. And I woke up the next morning and I felt physically horrible, but I also felt like I totally screwed up. Like I've come so far. Oh my gosh. But where it turned around for me was when I got to 4 o'clock. I still felt like crap. And I was like, oh God, where is that lemonade and Sprite drink that I've been drinking for the last 3 months? It wasn't, oh, I'm just going to continue pouring that bottle of wine because I had it yesterday. So that's where I realized, okay, I've gotten on the other side of this. Like
Mhm.
I didn't go right down that rabbit hole path, which was my biggest fear in reintroducing it at all was if I start this, if I open that bottle of wine, because for me it was really wine. It was wine in a specific kind. So it was almost like, don't open the bottle, don't open it. And when I realized that I had done that and I'd opened it, but then I didn't go back to it, that's when I was like, okay, you know, and I have since then had many opportunities to really screw up. I was just at a resort in Cabo for 5 days, all inclusive, all you can drink. And I was like, okay, Mel, you get one at the pool and you get two the rest of the day. And that's it, whole day.
Mhm.
And I was able to stick to that because I made the plan and I woke up every morning and I felt fantastic. Versus prior, I would have, I mean, as fast as you can bring those out, that's as fast as we would have had them.
Right.
So it's it's definitely a change for me. And my friends are now like, "Oh, are you drinking tonight?" Like they ask me. It's not because when you say you're not drinking anymore, people go, "Oh," and then you're not invited to things because you're the not fun person.
Right.
You're
Right.
the not fun person.
Right. Or you're the person that you see everyone and they're just handing you their keys, like, here, take me home later. And you're like, all of a sudden you got 10 keys. You're like, I can't drive 10 cars. So
Right.
I don't know what we're doing here.
And the thing that's really funny is I say other people are more concerned about what's in your glass than you are. I attended my daughter is in college and we went to her parents' weekend. And even I admittedly was like, how this was at the point of my journey where I was going I was practicing 90 days of abstinence because there was just something about 90 days that made me feel like that's what I wanted to do before reintroducing. And I was like, parents' weekend, like I went to Chico State, the number one party school in the nation. All the kids know me. I'm the fun party mom. How am I going to get through this sober? So, but I did. But there was this one mom, and she meant well. She saw that I didn't have a drink and said, "Oh, I'm good. I just had one. I'm fine." No, 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 you must have something. And I said, "Oh, no, I'm good." And she's like, "What can I get you?" And oh, I'm good. I'm good. She must have asked me 4 times in the matter of 10 minutes. And I was like, you ask me again, you're going over the balcony. Like you move beyond being a good hostess. Now you're just bugging me. And so I was just like, why is this so important to you? But it really is. Other people, I think it has to do with their own, right? You want everyone doing what you're doing, so you don't feel like what you're doing is different.
Right, right. And, and admittedly, like, I went through my own journey with this to where, unfortunately for me, like, I did have my oh crap moment, which it had a little bit to do with like overindulging when I was younger, but then I had decided to quit and I was alcohol free for a year. And I spent that year really getting in shape and I was training for a 10K at Red Rocks, which if you're not from Colorado, you're in the foothills. It's not flat. It is not an easy race. But like I was in shape. I was ready to go. Unfortunately for me, part heredity, part what I had done, and part of my diet, I actually caused myself to have a seizure
Oh my
to
God.
where, like I was touch and go for a while and stuff like that. the doctors came in and they did all the tests and everything and took hair samples and everything. And I was like, look, I'm a year into not having alcohol. So I know that's not what's caused it. And it boiled down to it wasn't. But at the same time, like that was my moment, like I'm on the right path with this. And yet I'm at the point now to where it's like, if I'm out, you know, and it's like friends or if I'm out on a date or whatever, like I can have a drink, but that's my plan is like I can have one because I'm going to wake up in the morning because I admittedly I am a morning person. Like I'm usually if the sun's
Good
up,
for you.
if the sun's up, I'm up because it's quiet, it's peaceful. It's like, and I know there's plenty of people out there that they're not waking up for till noon, and they're waking up going, God, I just want to go back to bed. And so it's a time for me to kind of get ahead on life, basically.
Right.
Um, but the thing I love that you talked about was like your lifestyle, because so too often, and I think it's part of society, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the what am I doing for the next 6 months? What am I doing for the next year? And as I sit here today, I'm 49. I'm not thinking about the next 6 months or year. I'm thinking about the next 40 years because I want to be either dad, grandpa, great grandpa, whatever it is that is like on a beach, hanging out with my kids, doing what they're doing,
Yeah.
and
That's
not just like, just give me a lawn chair and I'll be fine. Like, I want to be active and I want to be part of their experience and I want to show them that. But that starts with my plan.
yeah. You don't want to be a house plant.
No, God, no. No, just I and part of what you're talking about is exactly that. Like your conscious consumption is because you are thinking down the road, right? It's not just like I just got to get through this or I just got to get through that. You're really thinking about, look, if I set myself up with this as my habit and having a plan, I know that my next day I'm going to be great and I'm going to do exactly what I need to do. And then the day after and the day after and the weeks and months and years. And I can be that person at 70 that's still doing all this stuff.
Right. And you're not white knuckling it. You're not like, oh, I got to get to 90 days. And then you get to 90 days and you're like, oh, and then you just blow it again. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it has definitely changed the way that I look at things. But the thought of not having it anymore, even if I didn't want it, just the thought of that was so overwhelming and so constricting, very restrictive that it just was not going to work for me. So that's how kind of it came to be, and just being more conscious of it. Like, okay, and I had rules. I never drank and drove. I have two teenage daughters, and I was like, you never have a sip of alcohol and drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll come get you. And they were like, well, but what if you've been having wine? I go, then I'll get an Uber. I will Uber to you. We will Uber home, and I will Uber all your friends home. So but now I'm like, okay, well, if I have that glass of wine, then when she calls me, I can't go get her. So it just kind of changed and made me more able to be present at more things because I wasn't looking for, okay, I can have wine because so and so can drop me off, or I can take an Uber here. And it just kind of changed everything, and it made it more of a choice than a habit. And that's the key point is changing it from an everyday just kind of pouring it because that's what you did the day before to, oh, okay, I, I'm going to have this because I like the taste of it and I'm choosing to have it. And that
Right,
was where everything flipped when it
right.
became a choice.
Because it was a choice, not an obligation.
not a habit. And it was a conscious choice. So, hence, conscious consumption. Other people use the phrase sober curious, which no begrudging to those people that those two words together make no sense to me. I hear curious, I think of George, a man with a yellow hat. Like like, and someone explained it to me that it's being conscious and being curious about why you drink in the first place. So I didn't understand how those words went with that definition. But anything conscious consumption, social media, sugar, it's all the things, but we're just really taught you break a habit, you don't bend it.
Hmm. And this is definitely a new way of looking at it and a different way of looking at it. And, you're right. I mean, there's certain people that they need it out of their lives.
Yes.
And go get the help that you need and do what you need to do. But for the majority of people, it's a choice to consume or to smoke or to not work out or do whatever. And we just need to change your paradigm of how you're looking at these things in terms of make it a conscious choice that you're going to go for a walk a day,
Mhm.
or you're going to make a plan that's going to say, like you did in Cabo, I'm going to have three total. I'm going to have one at the pool, I'm going to have two the rest of the day. That's it. And then I'm going to enjoy my lemonade and Sprite. For me, it's iced tea. You know,
Yeah.
it's.
And the key point of that is because I am on vacation.
Mhm.
Now, when I got home, I didn't continue my, one during the day and two at night. Um, my usual thing is I get two. I get two pours. And I don't measure them. I have a cup and I get two pours.
Mhm.
And when those two pours are done, that's it.
Yeah.
And um, I can do that now. I could not do that before. I could not. I would. I would. I tried to program. It didn't work. Got down on myself, and then I'm like, oh, I can do this on my own. I'm gonna have two glasses. So I, pour the first one, which you may as well not even count that because it was gone before you even could think about it. So then I'd pour and I'd get to my second one, and I'm like, all right, well, it's the last one. That's all I got. Now it's like 8 o'clock. Okay, well, better better you know conserve this. And then um, I would have those two glasses, and then I'd look at the bottom and be like, okay, I said two glasses, which is 50% better than yesterday, because yesterday I had five, because a bottle is five. If I do two, I'm 50% better. Well, after those two, I'd look at the bottle and I'm like, huh, those must be bigger than normal glasses because there isn't half a bottle left. In fact, there's really not that much left at all. Like, not really enough to save. So there goes the rest of it. And another several years of me beating myself up about it. And, you know, but then telling myself, you're not hurting anyone. It's okay.
Hmm.
You're not driving. You're not, so it was an internal battle for a long time.
Hmm. Yeah. So just a question for you as well then, like with vacation or with those nights where you've got a 21st birthday or something like that, like when do you start or when do you put in place like your conscious choices for that event? Like when does that process start for you?
It starts, kind of as I'm getting ready, okay, especially if we're going to a particular place. For instance, my birthday, we were going to one of my favorite restaurants. And I was like, okay, you get two. And I even went so far as to like pick, I'm going to have one of their cosmopolitans because they're my favorite, and I'm going to have one glass of wine. Like I picked down to the drinks what I was getting. Um, And that's where it comes in. Whereas previously, I would have a glass of wine while I was getting ready, you know, um, just, and I have a wonderful, supportive husband that is supporting what I'm doing now, but he was also super supportive and always made sure I had a case of wine, always just like we joke, my husband is Ted Lasso, and just whatever I needed always. So what I needed then was wine. So he always made sure I had it. And so it wasn't, I also didn't have this wasn't a financial burden for us either. So,
Right.
having a bottle a day wasn't strapping us financially. So that was another piece. So I didn't have a lot of roadblocks. There weren't a lot of things getting in my way of continuing this habit. It was just not a lot of barriers. It was just easy for me to do. I live, people say, oh, you can quit if you take all the alcohol out of your house. I live a mile from Safeway. If I want something, I'm just going to drive to Safeway. Like,
Right.
so yeah, but yeah, to answer your question, my plan was definitely, it's now, as I'm getting ready and before I leave.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And how important was it or is it to you on a daily basis to have such an amazing supportive husband that recognizes what you're doing and supports you 100%? Like, how important is that? Is having someone like that, doesn't have to be a husband, but someone like that in your life that's a support system?
I think it is very helpful, of course. I'd say it's more helpful when you are drinking because there's someone there always, making sure you have it. Um, and when you're not, it it comes down to you can only do you like this, you're the only person that can do this. So is it supportive in that he's not constantly offering it to me? Yes, because he knows now that, and he'll say, are you, instead he'll say, do you want anything to drink tonight, versus do you want your wine? And that's because now he realizes, for me it's a choice. Are you having anything tonight? Which is, it that is very helpful because it's like he's acknowledging that it's a choice, and which choice am I making? um and either one is okay. Either one is. And I was talking about my drink, my raspberry lemonade and Sprite, and I was saying that I feel like I've traded one habit for the other, for wine for this. But I'm like, nobody ever got a DUI or blew their liver from too much lemonade and Sprite. So, and there have also been times where I open the fridge thinking I have some and I don't. And he's like, oh, I'll run to Safeway and get it for you. I'll be right back. So that kind of thing is very helpful when you have something that keeps you from doing what you don't want to do. Um, but this is something that I think is interesting with your brain is, like I said, for me, it was wine, specific kind of wine. I mean, the exact like same vineyard. And that's what I would have every day.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've kind of, I don't even think you can I didn't think you could reprogram it. But now at 6 o'clock, I'm like, ooh, lemonade, Sprite, strawberry drink. Yay. So that's when I realized it wasn't necessarily about what was in the glass. It was just having something in my glass constantly and it never being empty. And that's when I was like, okay, that is a revelation. Some people it's the actual glass. They like the fancy wine glass.
Mm-hmm.
So they can put Pellegrino in that wine glass, be fine. For other people, it's the taste. For other people, it's the volume. There's something ritualistic about it for everyone.
Right, but like it sounds like what you're talking about a little bit is whereas you used to anticipate that 6 o'clock coming and having a wine, now your anticipation is at 6 o'clock for the strawberry lemonade and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Um, and it's a little bit panicky to me. My least favorite place to be is like a sports bar because as far as the drink, I love being in a sports bar. Um, I water to me is punishment, so I'm never going to order a water at dinner. I'm just not. It's
Yeah.
not.
Water's terrible. I hate it.
Yeah, I see. And I am an admitted Diet Coke person. So during the day, I'm drinking Diet Coke, and I don't drink that at night. So if I'm in, I'm at my house or I'm at a friend's, I can make my little drink and I'm fine. But when you're in a bar, it's tough because there aren't a lot of drinks that are non-alcoholic, that taste decent, that aren't pop. Um, so that's where it's a little bit tough. You're like, okay, I'll have a glass of tonic. That it's not, but
Right.
many restaurants now, like if you are going to a nice dinner, you could even ask the server, can you make any of these without alcohol? Or they have a separate mocktail section where you can have, because it's like, again, I don't want to punish myself for not having alcohol, but I also don't want it. So give me something else that's special.
Right. That tastes good. That's not
Yeah.
water that you can look forward to and be like, man, that really tastes good,
Mhm.
which then satisfies that craving for not the alcohol, but the taste and something
Yeah.
that
And
tastes good. Like you said, something that's special that,
yeah,
that,
and I haven't delved a lot into the alcohol removed drinks. I haven't really done that. I'd had, tried an non-alcoholic wine and they're not very good. So for me, it's less. I think with some people, they're trying to use that so that they get the taste. Like I'm going to use these non-alcohol added alcohols to make a drink that tastes like a Moscow Mule without alcohol. So
Mhm.
I'm not shooting to make something taste like something else. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, this is like a strawberry basil drink. It sounds delicious. It'd probably be really good with vodka, but let's see. I'm not having vodka, so can you make it without it? So now
Mhm.
I feel like I had something yummy. It just didn't have alcohol in it. And
Right.
our brains are so wired to celebration, alcohol, sad, alcohol. Let's catch up, alcohol. So you're just so programmed to it that when you take a step back and go, yeah, I'm not going to have any today, but I am going to have that, you know, raspberry pomegranate spritzer, and it's
Right.
club soda instead of vodka.
Right. Right. So if you're coaching someone, like how do you advise or guide them to make the same choice that you have, like a conscious consumption, rather than an abstinence or you know a program or something like that? Like how do you help people like get into making choices rather than not making a choice to and choosing nothing?
Yeah. So for me, I am not a coach. I don't profess to be. I am more just kind of sharing my story and letting people see, okay, this is where I started. These are the several times I failed. And here's what did work for me. And for me, it was working with a coach. And, we worked with, I had some coaching. We used some medication that helps you kind of, it changes your brain's reaction to alcohol, making it less enjoyable. It doesn't make you sick. So it was just really bringing it down and down and down. And if I were talking to someone right now that was in my situation where I was, I would say to try to reduce first. Can you take, um, some people can quit for a certain number of days. Some people can consume less on a daily basis. Figure out which one of those is more doable for you. Do you need that every day? And if you're doing four, can you do two? If you are someone that once you have your wine, you keep going, like if you're at a party, you don't know when to stop, then can you say Monday through Thursday, I'm not having any, but I will allot myself that I can on the weekends. So it's just what is going to work for them. Again, is it less days a week? Is it more, or excuse me, less per day? Um, and then I would, progress to okay. And I remember my coach saying to me, "All right, Mel, you've been doing great. Do you think you can do a sober day this week? Like have no, do you think you can pick a day this week where you have no alcohol? Or do we need to start with half a day?" And I was like, half a day? Like people that drink? I mean, mine was pretty simple. I'd have my wine at 6 o'clock and I would drink it until I went to bed at 11. So it was a very, and I was like, there are people that drink all day. Like, whoa, like that just completely blew me away. I said, oh yeah, I can do 24 hours, like no problem. So, and then we did that for a while. Okay, this week, which day am I not having any? And it I guess titrating might be a word that you could use. And then it was like, okay, I've done one day. And for me, it kind of fell into the next day. I was really busy and it was late. I was like, huh, I didn't have it's been 2 days. And then, other things transpired. And then it was, well, gosh, I'm at day 3. If I make it one more day, then I will have had more sober days this week than
Mm-hmm.
not sober days. Hmm. And, then it was like, wow, okay, that's new. And then it was just kind of like, okay, well, I've done this. What about next week? Could I do this? And that's how it worked for me in a progressive fashion. Again, lifestyle changes and honing versus I'm done. I wouldn't have made it on I'm done. Wouldn't have.
Right. Right. And most people don't.
No.
And most people, that's why you hear so many stories out there of like, I tried AA and I failed. And it's like, well, then that might not have been the right program. You might have done better with, you know, a conscious consumption and, limiting yourself and seeing how far or whatever you can do with that. Starting,
Changing.
yeah,
It's changing. And that's why this program was so that I did was so enlightening to me. It was changing your relationship with it. They weren't going, and even at the end, it wasn't like, okay, we're going to decrease so we can get you to abstinence. They were like, what do you want to do? Do you, and a lot of people do say they want to decrease and then end up becoming abstinent. It happens. Some people, that's what works for them. And then there are other people that are like me, that are like, okay, I'm going to have some when I want to. Like I wanted to reserve the right that when my friends that own a winery put out their new release, I wanted to reserve the right that I could have a taste of that and not have everyone go, but you don't drink anymore.
right.
And it was just that feeling to me of never again. I mean, think of anything in your life that you ever say, I'm never doing it again.
Hmm.
And that's a really, for me, suffocating feeling. And I immediately knew I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I, and it wasn't even so much that I knew like I needed the alcohol. It was just someone telling me I could never do something again. Didn't matter what it was.
Right.
So yeah, I think that a lot of people are used to starting something cold turkey and failing. And so they just don't. I mean, think about if you were alcohol and you failed. You're at a bar, you're not supposed to be drinking. You have a drink, you go, "Oh, this tastes so good." Well, I've already screwed up. I've already had a drink. May as well drink all the alcohol in this bar.
Right.
And I've already messed up. So, I've already blown the program, so I may as well just keep going.
Right. Yeah, no, it's powerful guidance for sure. So, um, yeah, yeah, lots of great stuff. So, if you guys out there, if you guys like this episode, don't want to miss any in the future, just click like and subscribe below to the channel, and you'll see everything that's on there. But Mel, I will give you the last couple minutes to kind of wrap up and kick us out of here.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and hope you found this to be, kind of humorous and relatable. Please do subscribe to Todd's podcast. It's awesome. And my socials are in here as well. If you want to get to know me better, feel free to message me. I also do speaking engagements if you feel like it's something that you might want to push out to people that you know. I would be happy to do that as well. But thanks so much for having me, Todd. This was really, really fun talk, and I hope it helps you guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely enjoyed it. So, for the viewing audience, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later.